Welcome back to Summer Cold. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we are doing a special episode. It's part of our Halfway to Horror, but it's also the anniversary of Alien, or is it like, what do you consider it?
It's just Alien Day. Alien Day is April 26th.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be in accordance with the planet that they visit, LV246.
No,
right? No, LV426. Sorry. It's supposed to be LV426. So Alien Day is every year is April 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some companies that like celebrate it. Like they'll put out merch on these days. I know Mondo's a big one that does it every year.
Yeah.
Merch?
Yeah, merchandise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're trying to save us time on the podcast.
Yeah, well now I didn't save any time because I had to explain it.
We get charged per word on this podcast. So we got to cut down sometimes.
Yeah, merch. But like it's just kind of like a little cool celebration of these movies. So what we wanted to do on the podcast was cover our first Alien movie, which I imagine this would be a series of movies that we would probably go through on this show.
I think this is a very doable franchise. There's no like really there are some lows, but not until like Alien versus Predator, I feel like.
See, I would love, but honestly, I think they're all discussion worthy because I think Alien vs. Predator has a really cool backstory. So I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it has a really cool history to it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess we're kind of kicking it out, and we're also going to do superior sequels sooner or later. And I imagine the one we keep talking about the most is Aliens.
Yeah.
So we'll probably cover Aliens sooner or later.
We've actually done Alien Covenant.
Have we?
Have we?
Yeah. There is an episode where we did like a 20-minute mini review of Alien Covenant. I don't know which episode it's on, but
wow.
It looks like we don't have to do that entry again, so we can just skip over that.
Because we did like talk like 20
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too.
I'd rather watch Alien 3 again than watch Alien Covenant again. I hated Alien Covenant.
I think I'm in the minority of really, really liking Alien 3.
Oh, really?
I've never seen it.
I think it's pretty good.
I'm in the minority of like I really like Prometheus, so I really hate Alien. So I really hate Alien Covenant.
Yeah,
because it ruins it.
But today we're talking about 1979 Alien. We've all seen this. I've only seen this once before. So this
welcome back to the franchise, Chris.
Honto, Matt, you guys have both seen this a good amount of times.
We saw this in theaters for 426. Like I think before Covenant came out, we talked about this on the podcast briefly, but they were doing like an anniversary or whatever, the 426 day, and then they showed like 10 or 15 minutes of Covenant after Alien. And so we stuck.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It was the 40th anniversary. Is that what you said it was?
I think it was an anniversary plus it was like for LV26, like Alien Day or whatever. So
yeah, cool experience seeing it in theaters. And I don't think it was the director's cut. I think it was
just theatrical.
Theatrical, right? Yeah. Because there are differences in the director's cut that are pretty significant. I have actually I've watched the director's cut more than I have the theatrical. Mm-hmm. And there was scenes in there that I forgot that they're not in the original, and they're kind of big. They're kind of big scenes.
I would say I watched both the Whedon and the Snyder cut of Alien for this podcast. I watched both the theatrical and the director's cut, and the director's cut I think is pretty solid. I think it's like way better than theatrical.
See, it's odd because before I did this, I looked up which one to watch, and a lot of threads said don't even bother the director's cut. It's not very good. Even Ridley Scott said he doesn't like the director's cut. And so I was like, all right, I watched theatrical. Yeah. But
I think there's some scenes that they throw in. I'm like, oh, that's would have been cool in the original. And
you know what? I'm going to be honest, not to spoil my review on this. This movie's as long as it already is. I don't want to add anything else to it.
Oh man, I'd watch more of it.
So let's get into it. So Alien 1979. I got some notes. What do you think this has on Rotten Tomatoes?
A 92.
Okay, Honto?
93.
98. So, and then let's talk budgets, because this is really interesting. So what do you think the budget was for the first Alien?
Geez.
Matt, we'll go with you. Go ahead.
15 mil.
Okay, Honto?
We'll do 10 million.
It was 10.7. So
Nice,
but
Honto.
I want you. We'll do this like rapid fire, but going through the series, like the budget's insane on some of these. So like Aliens, just real quick, Matt, what do you think Aliens has? We'll go through these rapid.
Oh, we'll do all of these.
Yeah,
you don't want to see it for the future episodes.
Wait. I was gonna say, should we save this for the future episodes? Because we do this
we'll forget about them when we get to them. Like
I'm gonna watch this recording before what we do the other episodes. I'm gonna study it.
Aliens.
I don't know. 10.7 million.
30 million. 30 million.
So it goes to 17 on Aliens, and then Alien 3.
30 million.
20 million.
55.
Wow.
And then,
I did know. I think I did know something like that. Like it went way over budget or something.
It had to. And then by the time you get to Prometheus, what do you think Prometheus has?
150 million.
I'm gonna go with that too.
125. But still, like to go from Alien at 10.7 to 125, that is insane. Especially like how much you can do with a $10 million budget versus 125 million. That blows my mind.
I did actually. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you were. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I did read. Accidentally read a piece of trivia because of the cast and crew, but Tom Skerritt originally declined because of the low budget, and he joined after someone else was who had got casted as his role got sick, so he decided to jump in. But it was after that happened, and they doubled the budget. So at one point, this budget had like a $5 million budget.
That's insane. Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Cool too, because like one of the things I really enjoy about this movie is the set design.
Yeah.
Set design is so
it's where
cool
it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say spoiler alert though for me, because I'm gonna praise the hell of this movie. This movie's in like my top 100 movies of all time. So you're talking about like set design and stuff like that, and it's just like everything is just like working so well together in this movie, like set design, creature design, effects, acting, directing, even like the way it's shot is really unique because it's like a lot of like handheld steady cam, you know, so and it's like the floodlights in the back and everything like that. It's there's times where it's shot kind of cinematically, but there's most of the times it's kind of shot with like those, which I feel like what most people remember from this movie are those hallways, just all those hallways and like the shaky cam and like the intensity of those hallways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like but the set design in this movie is killer. Yeah, it just looks really great.
And that is one of the few qualities, the very minimal qualities I like about this movie. So let's talk about how much the movie made. So domestically, Matt, we'll start off with you. How much did it make at the box office? So now this is one of those ones where you guys, Matt, I think argues this more than anything. This movie's been re-released so many times.
Okay. Are we doing like the totals of all that, like after the?
I'm assuming that's probably in.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 500 million or 600 million. I'll say 600 million.
Okay, Honto.
250 million.
62 million.
What?
62 million.
So that's probably just based off the theatrical. Then I would assume.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That number can't be right.
It's not like it was a big box office hit. This is not like
Indiana Jones
or anything.
I guess it was. Yeah. If it had a 10 million with the 60 million, that's pretty huge at the time.
Dude, we talked about this during our Blockbuster episode. And we said that like it was like the Blockbuster's hit
with Jaws.
Yeah, and it's like it was like Star Wars, Jaws, and then this for like the 70s. And it was like Alien was the biggest movie to come out that summer. And so it's only made 65 million.
Hold on, I'm looking something up just for a double check. So
that seems really low for a Blockbuster smash.
Yeah.
And to sit there and you're like, and what you were saying was to accumulate all the money that it's made through all its theatrical re-releases. Seems really low.
Made 2 million.
Yeah. So it says lifetime gross. I don't know if this is US. I think this is US.
I would think probably like everything. Lifetime.
Yeah, 78 million.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I'm getting. But worldwide, what do you think it made altogether?
I don't know, man. My world's been shattered.
200 million.
Yeah,
Matt?
like 150. I don't know, 100 million.
184 worldwide. So, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it was still a hit. It wasn't like Jaws or anything. I think it's weird when you watch.
What-
Okay, so like Alien is considered like this groundbreaking movie. So in your head, you're like, oh yeah, it's huge, but it wasn't. I mean, it was. I mean, like you said, 10 million, 62 million, or 78 million, whatever it is, roughly, based on a $10 million budget. That is a big success. That's huge. But it's not like.
Now we covered the same thing on the Blockbuster episode, but what did Jaws make its initial release?
Like
Jaws is probably like 400 million, something like that.
Damn.
Are we looking at internationally or domestic?
Probably even domestic. Oh no, probably internationally. Yeah.
Because I'm gonna look it up really quick.
Man, I feel like you're so bummed.
No, because I want to see what the difference is as far as like.
I have it right here. So Jaws domestically made 260. Worldwide, it made 471.
Wow.
So.
Wow, I guess that's right then. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
like,
Alien was big, but it's not Jaws big.
But it was. But I remember us
For
talking
Alien,
about
it
how
says
Alien.
for Alien it says budget 10 million, opening weekend 3 million, domestic 62 million, worldwide box office 184 million.
So okay, there's a lot of different reportings and numbers.
Yeah.
So I usually use Box Office Mojo. That's usually been the most accurate one I've used.
Yeah.
And so we'll make this the final numbers because I think this one's pretty accurate. Domestically, it made 81.
Okay. That's probably probably is with like the re-releases then.
Sure.
Yeah.
Internationally, it made 24.
Okay.
So for a worldwide total of 106.
I wonder
Okay,
what
I
this
got
184
one
comes
more
in.
question.
Okay.
One more question for you, Chris, and
Yeah.
you can look this up. What was the what movie came out in '79 that made the most money? Was it Alien?
I'm already on that. So 1979
box office.
Yeah.
Welcome to our
Alien was number one.
Was it?
Alien was number one. No. Okay. You want to guess what the number one movie was in 1979?
No, I don't.
I may have just seen it, so just go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The hits
Is that
action sci-fi
including-
horror movie Kramer versus Kramer.
And that's including all the re-releases.
Yeah. Is that-
And directors, the Blu-ray director's cut, and
the THX theater edition.
the Kramer versus Kramer Day. Damn it.
But yeah, after that you got like Amityville Horror was number 2
That's crazy.
with 86 million. Rocky 2 with 85, Apocalypse Now with 83. So
Wow.
yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. So you know
Um,
what? I know where I got where I'm getting all my information from. We did
Superman was up there. Yeah.
We did summer blockbusters,
Yeah, that might be.
and
it.
that's where the information is coming from. I think Alien was the biggest summer blockbuster that year.
This sounds like a summer dud.
I don't.
Summer of Crud.
Yeah.
No,
Chris, stop.
I love this movie.
All right, let's talk about this
Um,
damn movie.
All right, Hanto, take us through the cast and crew of Alien 1979.
Directed by Ridley Scott. He's done movies such as Blade Runner, Legend, Black Rain, which I watched recently and think is awesome. He did Hannibal, Black Hawk Down, American Gangster. Chris, have you seen Gladiator yet?
Nope.
6 years in the making. We can make this happen, I think.
The
very
movie,
soon.
I want to. I mean, I watched Braveheart last year, so I'm halfway
wow.
there.
Congratulations. How was it?
Thank you. Oh, that was good. Yeah,
Okay.
Braveheart's good. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, then he returned with the Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and I don't know if there's any discussions to continue because Covenant ends on a massive cliffhanger. I feel like,
Yeah.
and I'm either war seeing
It makes no sense
yeah, it's
because never mind. Go ahead.
it's super lame.
Dude, I was looking him up the other day just to see. I was trying to debate if I like Ridley or Tony better.
Ridley's got some
and
legit awesome action movies.
they're very. Wait, Ridley or Tony?
Tony, flashy
Tony, yeah.
action movies basically.
They're definitely two different directors, but
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, I was impressed because he made The Martian
Yeah.
when he was 76 years old. That's awesome.
That movie is
that's
that movie is
impressive.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you know
never
what's
seen
kind
it.
of no. I like not because it's like I don't want to see it. More so it's like I kind of just know where it's going. It's the same reason I haven't seen Castaway.
Okay.
I know where it's
It's
going.
basically Castaway in space.
Anytime you see a movie where it's about, and same thing with Revenant. Anytime it's a movie about a single person survivor,
Yeah, you
like
mentioned this
alone.
one time.
Yeah, you know they're going to be fine until like 90 minutes in. You
It's
know,
like
everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's if they die a quarter of the way in the movie, it's like, so we're just gonna like follow like his dead body or something, like it's Swiss Army Man or something, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's why I like The Edge. I think The Edge is like the best survival movie
because
ever.
you have like 3 people this time rather than just one person, and
you got like some
stakes,
dynamic of who's gonna survive, you know. But really Scott's he's a very
he's
jack
versatile
of all trades. Versatile kind of director. He's kind of put dipped his like foot into every genre.
Like he does everything from like sci-fi to fantasy to action, historical pieces, to dramas. He did like
crimes.
Crime movies. He's got like a wide variety of movies basically.
Yeah.
I will say I think I'm more a Tony Scott fan than Ridley Scott though.
I think Tony has some pretty good entries in there. But like definitely Ridley probably has the most like Academy accolades, you know, like
for sure,
award nominations, and you know, so
I would say you can see my
finger,
my Ridley Scott collection right here at the top.
Oh yeah. I see, now that you mention it, I just see every yeah. I got Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, Ghostbusters 1 and 2, Galaxy Quest. She's set to return for Avatar 2, Avatar 3, Avatar 4, Avatar 5, and so on and so forth.
As I get older, she is in my top 5 actresses.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good.
I do that. I could see that, man.
She might even be my number 2. I know Toni Collette's my number 1. Sigourney Weaver might be my number 2.
Nice.
Hey, here's a tangent. Since you brought up Sigourney Weaver, Chris,
nice.
I was going to mean to bring this up to you, but this is totally off topic.
Is it about my hair?
Yeah, last night I had a dream that you and me
hung out with Sigourney Weaver. She was the third person on the podcast.
Well, no, after COVID went away, we got new jobs, and our new jobs were Ghostbusters, and it was a really cool dream.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out how to work proton packs. It was really cool, and we were trying to figure out how to get that ghost off the top of your head. You know, like those curly ghosts. Since you brought it up. You kind of look like Sigourney Weaver. If Sigourney Weaver had like a beard,
hair,
if she had a short haircut on the sides.
Yep, that was the joke I was going for.
Yeah.
I was going more for like a Seth Rogen maybe.
Oh really? So you weren't going for like
you have to get the thick glasses. You have to get the thick glasses.
I know. I wish I had some.
Yeah.
Oh wait, which one's Sigourney Weaver? Is she the gatekeeper or the keymaster?
She's the keymaster.
Is she?
Because I think the roles are flip flopped. Like
oh, okay.
Yeah, Rick Moranis is he's the gatekeeper, right? I'm the gatekeeper.
Yeah. I think
that's what made it funny, because it's like the male, female, and like the roles were reversed basically for both.
Well, what does Sigourney Weaver say when she opens the door to Bill Murray? And
she
she's
says,
like,
are you the keymaster?
Oh, yeah. No, keymaster.
Yeah,
she says, you are the keymaster. Okay, I got it wrong.
Right?
Yeah, she says, are you the keymaster? He's like, well, yes, I am.
Right. She shuts the door the first time, then they try it again.
He knocks it again.
Yeah.
He's like,
well, yes, I am.
Continue on, we got Tom Skerritt as Dallas. He's popped up in MASH, the movie, Contact, Top Gun, Dead Zone, which I watched recently and is pretty awesome.
Yes, I didn't know where I knew him from. Yeah,
he plays the sheriff of that town.
Awesome.
Yeah, I watched that recently.
Yeah, it's actually getting like a really good boutique Blu-ray release.
Is it?
Yeah, Shout Factory's putting it out.
Nice,
but we watched it a few months ago, and I remember it being like fine, but that's a lot better than I remember.
It's a nice break if you're following Cronenberg at the time. It's a nice break of like, oh, this is a breath of fresh air.
Oh yeah.
He pops up in Poltergeist 3, Poison Ivy. I mentioned the movie Texas Rangers on the Halloween H2O podcast episode. I don't know what the hell this movie is, but it's funny. It's really funny.
We'll mention it as much as possible.
That's the idea. I'm just gonna keep mentioning it until eventually it's a podcast episode. And then he was actually in Harry Dean Stanton's last movie, Lucky, which is John Carroll Lynch, who's
isn't he? Oh, was it really?
Yeah, I was surprised to see that. I thought it was David Lynch for some reason. David Lynch is actually in this movie as a character, or like he plays somebody. But it's a John Carroll Lynch movie, which is kind of awesome because
that's cool.
That guy is very underappreciated.
Yeah, I feel like he's like kind of he's been doing a lot. He's been very busy.
Yeah,
I feel like I see him more now than I did back like
90s on Drew Carey show.
Yeah, after the Drew Carey show ended.
Yeah, he's every time I see that guy like pop up in anything, I'm like, this is gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So continue on. We got John Hurt as Kane. He actually did the voice of Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings animated movie. He was in The Elephant Man, a movie called The Hit, Dead Man.
The Hit's an awesome movie.
Yeah, I've seen it once. It has doesn't it have
Tim Roth, the Ninja Stars.
Oh, does he have ninja stars?
Yeah, that's like his weapon.
I've seen it like ninja stars. I've seen it like one time because he's like kind of like an up and coming hitman or something. Tim Roth. Yeah, he's kind of like the wild card, I guess.
Yeah, John Hurt's pretty like terrifying menacing. In it too, like menacing in it. Yeah.
So I was gonna say because he's also in a movie called The Proposition with Guy Pearce, and he's
never saw it.
Very, very terrifying in that movie.
Is that worth watching?
Yes. Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
Proposition's an awesome movie.
Guy Pearce and then not John Huston.
Walter Huston.
Walter Huston, who pops up. I think he's the like lead vampire in 30 Days of Night.
You've
seen him around. He pops up everywhere.
Yeah,
but he's really
no, it's not. Is it? It's not Walter Huston. There's so many Hustons. There's there's
Jack Huston was in Boardwalk Empire.
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Yeah, there's that as well. Do me a favor and look up Proposition for me.
I am.
So you can find out who this guy is.
Yeah, because it's John Hillcoat movie, which is
it's a John Hillcoat, which is like a once.
Danny Houston. It's Danny Houston.
Danny.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Fondas and the Barrymores. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore.
Hollywood families, like actors, where it's like they've extended. Like the Barrymores have been going for like 100 years now.
Yeah,
they're
and
like
then the Carradines are the
Carradines.
But this guy is related to Angelica Houston, who's Morticia Adams in Addams Family.
What guy?
The guy we're talking about, Danny Houston,
who's an alien.
No, this is the Proposition. We were talking about the Proposition. We went on we went on a tangent and we weren't paying attention. So
I feel like there was a car. You guys got in it, left me behind, and then came back, and you're like,
you came out of the bathroom, and you're like,
Matt and I were having a conversation about the Proposition. Chris was like, where'd they go?
Okay.
Continuing on, we got Veronica Cartwright as Lambert. I just saw her recently in the 78 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is like, I've never seen that before until like October, and I was like, holy shit.
Awesome movie.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen.
Dude, that part is
it's crazy.
Terrifying.
Once you once you see it in context, it's like that ending is incredible. Like, so if you already knew the ending, which you do, like, don't let that like interfere with your like watching the movie, because like seeing everything lead up to it, you're like, holy shit, that is a
cool.
Yeah,
movie.
It's pretty scary. Yeah.
But yeah, she was in The Witches of Eastwick, The Birds, and Flight of the Navigator. Then we got Harry Dean Stanton as
she's in The Birds.
The Birds.
Oh, okay.
Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds. She plays, I think, like the daughter of one of the characters, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I knew that, but that's cool.
Yeah. I got Harry Dean Stanton as Brett. Previous episode, Christine. He pops up in Repo Man, Cool Hand Luke, Red Dawn, Escape from New York, Pretty in Pink, Wild at Heart, and an underrated crime movie starring not Danny Houston, but Straight Time. It's with
we brought Straight Time up.
I can never
Dustin
think
Hoffman.
of names. Like, Dustin Hoffman. I can never think of names when like I'm on the spot. But yeah.
And this is like Hanta, would you say this is your hall pass actor, by the way?
Oh yeah. I like this guy a lot. I like it.
I feel like every time I think of Harry Dean Stanton, I just think of like a starry-eyed Honto, just like, there he is. Like when he pops up for a second in that Arnold movie and he gets like blasted away.
And I was like, no.
Yeah, it's so weird. That is one of the strangest cameos I've ever seen in a movie.
Because he's only in it for like a minute. He's only in a minute and he's in the shadows. Like,
which movie is this?
And it's just like
Danny
Houston Arnold movie called?
I'm done. I just want to talk about Alien.
The Last
Danny
Stand.
Houston the movie.
Yeah,
The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Okay.
He shows like he's literally just on a farm and he's like, and
who goes there?
If you
and they,
and then they blast him away and you're like, oh, that's weird. That was Harry Dean Stanton. You think he would play a bigger character and they killed him really quickly.
That was my favorite actor of all time.
Yeah.
Just killed him.
It's kind of like
I was gonna say, I think the thing I remember him most from is Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've only seen him in probably like 5 or 6 movies.
I've never seen it. That's a good amount. That's a good amount of movies.
I've got Paris, Texas on my list this week to watch. So I'm excited to watch that finally.
Is that Danny Houston?
Yeah, it's Danny Houston as director.
I wonder if we could figure out a new game with like 6 degrees of Danny Houston and figure out how he gets connected to
I've already thought a new game of 6 degrees. You need to find a way that an actor or something involved in this movie ties to Dusk Till Dawn 3 Texas Blood Money. Or Hangman's Daughter.
Sorry,
I feel like I will figure that out by the end of this episode.
From now on, every movie we're gonna start off and be like, and this is how it ties to Hangman's Daughter.
All right, so the next movie we're doing, we haven't told our audience what we're doing next, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's got to figure out a way our next movie connects to Hangman's Daughter. I like this game. This is cool.
Okay. All right.
Never having seen Hangman's Daughter before, it's going to be quite a chore.
What a presence that made in the last episode that we did.
It's going to be hard to do if you haven't seen it.
All over the place.
Dude, we're going to have to do a month where we do a double feature and it's Milk Money and Dusk Till Dawn 3, Hangman's Daughter.
I'm going to figure out how those two are connected. We got Yaphet Koto as Parker. I think we just lost him in March, I think.
Last
month he passed away.
Oh, really?
But previous episodes on the podcast, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, and Across 110th Street.
We did do that. Wow.
He was the main villain, Bond villain in Live and Let Die as Mr. Big.
He's my favorite. Yeah, he's my favorite Bond villain.
Goes out probably the most hilarious way in all of the Bond movies.
It's so stupid.
It's really stupid, but it's really
really dumb. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
When it happens, you're like,
his body literally balloons to the size of the room, and
it's the ceiling. It's a rock in the ceiling.
Yeah, not that it's like it gets too big that it explodes. It just gets so big that it hits one of the
like the rock,
something sharp
called on the cave walls.
Yeah,
and
stalagmite or stalactite.
because there you go, stalagmite on the cave ceiling and pops because of that. So if there was no ceiling, he would have just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is stupid because they literally wrote that in the script. Like, his name's Mr. Big,
so that's the way he goes out.
He's got to die. He's got to die big.
And this is right after Bond throws that one of the main henchmen into the couch, and he gets eaten by the couch.
Whispers.
Yeah, whispers. Yeah, whispers.
Shall I open it? Shall I open it?
Man,
we need to watch that movie for the podcast.
I hope in this next Bond movie they do something hilarious like that, because I feel like the Daniel Craig movies really need something hilarious to happen.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. Those Bond movies are too serious. They need to have fun.
Stupid like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Get really stupid.
I'm gonna call it right now. What we need to do for this show, we need to do a Bond month. Yeah, and we need to do like four James Bond movies.
Do a Bond movie when this damn movie finally releases.
Yeah, and we'll do that. We'll do Live and Let Die, and we'll do the new Bond movie, and we'll do GoldenEye, and then we'll do another one.
I'm already down for that.
Yeah, I would love to cover Bond movies.
Then we got Ian Holm as Ash. Previous episode, The Time Bandits. And then he also pops up in Brazil. A version of Hamlet, Naked Lunch, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Ratatouille, and then he's probably best known as Bilbo from Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
Bilbo.
I just watched him
Baggins.
in Last Kiss with Zach Braff.
Okay.
No, not Last Kiss. Garden State. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
he is in that movie, isn't
he's
he?
his
Yeah,
dad,
he plays
right?
Zach Braff's dad. Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Cool.
solid cast, right?
Garden State? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh god.
The only thing it's missing though is Danny Houston, I think.
Yeah.
The only thing that movie is missing.
You know what's gonna happen is Danny Houston's gonna be trending on Twitter.
Google's gonna like detect in its algorithm like Danny Houston,
Right.
and then he's gonna get
these guys at Cinema Cult Network broke the internet this week. Like, never mind. I was just going down into a rabbit hole. I imagine like everyone's like posting on like all the Instagrammers, like the ones that have all the high
the
view count.
influencers.
Yeah, the influencers are all watching Danny. They're all watching Danny Houston movies.
They're gonna do
the
it's the Danny Houston challenge. It's a new challenge that happens.
The hashtag
Today we're gonna be doing the Danny Houston challenge.
Is that the
Tide Pods?
Wait, what?
Is that the end of the cast?
Yeah, that's all I
No,
have.
he wasn't asking.
There's there's a couple.
was-
There's two additional, but they don't really have like a filmography. But there's a I think his name is pronounced Bolaji Badejo. He plays the alien, and then Helen Horton plays Mother.
Okay. Do we know who wrote this? I don't know if you said that in the beginning. I didn't know if this is
Dan O'Bannon.
who also did.
Yeah, who worked with John Carpenter on. They worked together on Dark Star.
Oh, he wrote Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and he wrote Return of the Living Dead.
And Heavy Metal, Total Recall. Cool.
Yeah, big name writer. But yeah, they worked. I think they went to. I'm assuming they did, but they worked on Dark Star together. Him and Carpenter did, and then they went off and did their own like pass. You know, where it's like kind of each went into their own sci. They have both their own sci-fi horror entries that are pretty prominent. With
he wrote
Alien and the Thing.
He wrote one of your movies. He wrote Life Force. Is that a movie?
Life Force is a good movie. It's a vampire movie.
Vampire alien,
which is really cool. Yeah, it's a vampire alien movie.
Yeah.
Really cool movie. I would love for you guys to check it out sometime. It's a Toby Hooper movie.
Oh, have you seen Invaders from Mars?
A long time ago, to the point where I don't remember. It's a remake.
It's another Toby Hooper movie, but he also wrote that one as well. And that's all I have for.
Okay, and this is based on the book by Tim Matheson, right?
No, I think Danny Houston. Is the
No, Richard Matheson. Is that right?
Richard Matheson.
No, this movie is not based on a book.
This is original concept and everything, right?
By Tim Matheson.
Yeah.
From Buried Alive.
Yeah, from Up the Creek fame.
What the fuck is this episode?
From Van Wilder.
Yeah, I feel like we're like just goofy Sunday morning recording this episode.
Yeah, we usually do this on Saturdays, but it's Sunday, so we're a little loosey goosey today.
Yeah. Who put sugar in your Wheaties? Like, this is weird.
It's really weird.
All right, we ready to get into it?
Right. So let's talk about Alien 1979. This movie starts off and not much happens in the first probably like 25 minutes. It's very
minimalistic and like atmospheric and just kind of setting up the tone of the movie, I guess.
We got honestly, the star of the first like part of this movie is Jerry Goldsmith's score. Because it's very atmospheric. It's killing it. And it's a little absent in the second half of this movie, or the second and third part of this movie.
I think it's all mostly just sound effects and the ship making noises.
Yeah,
and lots of ambient noises and whatnot.
But the first part is a lot of Jerry Goldsmith's score.
Yeah,
it is, and I don't want to compare it. I want to watch this movie as a standalone, not compare it to the others. But I do prefer his score in Aliens over this one. I think his score in Aliens is...
I think I've seen this more times than Aliens. I know this.
That's Horner who does it. Horner,
is it Horner?
James
you're
Horner
right.
Does Aliens.
Yeah, you were absolutely right.
I do like this film score.
Which is kind of weird because a lot of the Aliens, or not a lot of it, but some of the Aliens score is Wrath of Khan. Is like a lot of like there's chunks of that score that's used in the same.
It's typically what happens when you have a composer who has like some very iconic work. It's sprinkled in other movies. You know, I was just actually watching In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood, and there's a chase sequence on a rooftop. He's chasing John Malkovich down, and there's like the way the music is playing. I was like, holy shit, this is and I like looked it up. I was like, I think this is who I think it is. When I looked it up, it was Ennio Morricone, because it was basically there's sounds from the chase scene on the rooftop when Kevin Costner's chasing down the guy. So it's just like whenever you have a composer, it's like you hear the music in other places.
Yeah,
it's just very iconic, you know. So
well, this is like
I thought you were going to say.
Go ahead. I'm saying like he
I thought you were going to
directly.
say, "Oh my god,
man. Danny Houston."
Danny Houston.
I'm making Danny Houston joke. I was going to.
Were you really? Oh, dude, too early. We just did it. No, but like he directly takes like pieces of music from Wrath of Khan, and he also Horner will take traditional classical songs and revamp them into his own scores. So like the Aliens, there's the song for Aliens is the name escapes me right now, but it's a classical rendition of a song.
Okay.
So he just kind of morphs it to his, because I think Wrath of Khan's, a lot of it is like the whole like Mars. I think Mars plays a lot.
Oh,
the planets from the planets.
That. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he also uses a lot of those beer kegs for it's like ching 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 ching. You know what I'm talking about? Like it sounds like he's hitting a beer keg.
Hanto, don't say anything. Just stare.
I will say that's present in the Conan movies.
Is it
the hammer? Was it the anvil and hammer, whatever song from? It's like the main theme song to Conan. You hear that ding ding ding. You know, it's like, oh, they're just hitting beer kegs.
Right. Thank you for responding, Hanto. So to continue on this film, so we're basically setting up these characters who, like, what's their job? What do they do for a living?
They're basically like space truckers in a way.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're I think they're on their way back to Earth from a job, right?
Yeah, collecting ore.
Yeah.
Yeah, what it is. They're collecting ore from a planet, and they go into hypersleep, and they get awakened by what they think is SOS.
Well, they think they're home, and then they're like, "Oh, we're we were awakened early, like way early. We're not in the same system that we should be." There is a quote unquote SOS signal that was being detected. So I guess it's like it's in the job description where it's like if there's an SOS, they're required to look for whoever is given the signal off, which is why they go to this planet in the first place.
So it even though it's a slow start of a movie, it does get to like the plot pretty quickly, I would say, as far as we got to stop here. There's signs of life. We need to go get it. So they end up damaging their ship as they land, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, they just land too hard.
I think they're landing, and I think maybe the high winds of is it like an asteroid, or what is this planet? Like, is it just a planet, or
it's just a planet?
Okay, it's just a planet that they call LV426. But yeah, as they're landing, I think it's like the high winds cause their hull to get breached or something with the landing pad or something like that, where they're forced to like sit there and fix the ship as others go search for the signal, basically.
Yeah, and while they're searching this, I think this is some of the best scenes in the movie. Just like they go off and they search for what they can find, like signs of life. And first they run across, I know it has a name, I can't think of it, the thing that like it's laying on its back with like the turret looking gun.
They call it the jockey. It's like nicknamed the jockey, or like a space, I think it's like the space engineer or something like that. But yeah, it's
which
like
is awesome. I think
it's awesome.
And what's cool is that they put this in this movie and they never explain what it is.
Never. It's great. Leave it at that.
But they explain it in Prometheus, don't they?
They're like a full on, like they show like way too much as to what's going on to the point where it's like, oh, this is what happened to the alien race, and it's like, I did not need to know any of that stuff.
I remember really liking that movie.
I like Prometheus. So I'm not gonna say anything against it. There are stupid things in the movie. I will give you that.
I think we talked about recently. It's the whole running straight forward as the thing is crushing down.
Yeah, and Charlize Theron. But this is cool because it's very mysterious. It's very this movie is very Lovecraftian. Is the word that's been most the best way to describe this movie that I've seen in writings about it. But it's it's kind of like this otherworldly cosmic terror, and it's like what nothing's explained. Everything's just kind of like insinuated.
It is what it is.
Because I want.
And it's cool. Shout out to H.R. Geiger for all that concept design, because that stuff looked everything. I don't know how much he did in the movie or if it was just the alien.
I think it's set design. The designs were all of his. If you ever look at any of his
the
stuff,
ship's not. I know that. The
okay.
ship's not his
I think
design.
it's anything alien related is all his stuff. But if you ever
'Cause
look at his works, it's like that guy was really into weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it is he does all the alien stuff and somebody else does all the ship design stuff, right? So they don't look the same. They look which is really cool. Yeah, because I want to get into this when I was watching it this time, I want to talk to you guys about why the alien is doing certain things. Why is he killing certain people? There's one person he kills in a very specific way that is different from the way he kills anybody else in the movie.
I
wonder why.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you guys about it.
And I discovered more about the alien reading into one of the deleted scenes of this movie that I'd like to talk about later on. It was kind of fascinating to learn.
When we get to the kills, I think it's there's a reason why the alien's doing a lot of the stuff that it's doing.
Okay. One cool trivia fact for this is when you see the space jockey and you see them exploring it, it's Ridley Scott's kids. He put them in mini suits.
Oh, very cool.
It made them look bigger than it was.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So cool.
Dude, I love all the trick imagery in this movie. Me and my wife were watching it and she's just she's watching it with me and she's like, are those models? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, that's how good they look. They look like models, but I love how it's tricks,
Yeah.
They're essentially a toy spacecraft next to the camera and it looks gigantic.
They get into full on space toy or toys flying around in the next movie when they have the jet that they're flying on. Brains. It's it's clearly a toy, but it's awesome.
Right.
But yeah, this movie, what makes this movie so awesome and stand out compared to a lot of other just sci-fi movies in general is that everything is practically done with models or effects, makeup and whatnot, and lighting and all that stuff. It's not CGI, and you're like, wow, this is all real, and it feels that way. They create a world based off of that, rather than seeing some weird jelly looking CGI flying around. They're that doesn't look real whatsoever.
Sure, I agree. They after they end up landing and they see the jockey, they go into the area where all the eggs are. And I remember reading this years ago, and I hope this isn't one of those things I made up.
No, you didn't. It's one of those things that I remember hearing about years ago too.
Okay. So they walk in, and then all the eggs are laying there, and there's all these blue lasers and lights.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I actually looked into it this viewing.
Well, the only thing I knew is that where it came from. I guess next door, the Who were recording. And they used a lot of those lasers in their shows, or they did for one of, I can't remember what videos. I think it's Won't Be Fooled Again. During that song, they used those lasers. And I guess Ridley Scott or somebody borrowed it from the Who to put in the movie, which I don't know what the significance of it is in the movie, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, I was reading more into. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was reading more into it because I always wanted to learn what the mist is supposed to be and what the lasers mean and stuff. And somebody was writing about maybe the mist is something from the eggs themselves. It's not a defense, but a way it senses the area, which is why Kane eventually eats it here in a second, is because once somebody breaks through the mist or whatever, it detects that there's somebody there. It can
latch on.
Yeah,
so that's cool. Okay,
it's more of like that's why when he's like looking at it, like starts opening up because it knows that somebody's like nearby. So it's like more of like a defense mechanism in a way. So I was like trying to learn more about that this viewing.
Well, I don't think the lasers are lasers. I think it's supposed to be just like the effect of the mist. But the problem is like at the time, at the time, like these were really uncommon. Like no one ever saw like lasers, and that's why they were so big on the Who tour.
Yeah. It just adds more to the effects and stuff.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what that was when you were watching this movie in '79. It'd just be this cool looking effect. But we all know that they're lasers, so now they're lasers. You know what I mean? Because everybody uses lasers. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's like that's like you're spot on then, Honto. As far as like this is a way for it to detect something so it can latch onto it. Mm-hmm. There's a really cool like I don't know what the word to use for it, but evolution of how like the alien transforms, where it's got to lay its eggs inside of a body. It's got to have like something to detect, like this detects it so it can lay its eggs in something.
Yeah.
And then they get into it in other movies, but the eggs, depending on what they land in or what they nest in, will be like a morph of that and the alien. So it'd be like a human. We get we get a human alien.
It's what the face hugger latches onto. That's what it adopts. It adopts the physiology of like a human. So it has more of like it's walking on two legs and it has arms or whatever. Yeah. But like in Alien 3, it infects a dog. So that's why they're running away from a dog-like looking or like a bull-looking alien in Alien 3 through the prison is because it came from a dog this time.
Yeah, and they show this in it's also in Prometheus.
Yeah, they do like
because the alien looks a little bit differently.
It looks pale. Yeah. I think the alien looks more white because it latches onto that engineer at the end of Prometheus, and then it looks more of like a white looking alien. I think is the idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, the idea is like the face hugger, the like DNA in a way like adapts depending on who the host is.
So, that's cool. It's not really in this one. It's just something they get into in other ones.
I think it's just something they like. I think it's something they just branched off of based on like the design. They're like, oh, how can we change up the design of it this time? It's like, oh, well, it does a dog, so make it on 4 legs. And there's a funny behind the scenes, but they showed initial behind the scenes of Alien 3, and they actually had. I think this is true.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, okay. But they basically like, maybe we should, instead of CGI or whatever, maybe we should just have a dog dressed up like the aliens. They have a dog wearing the
I think I've seen
this. It's like flopping around and like the makeup's like
it's real goofy. I remember I wanted to bring this up. Back in the first time I ever saw this movie was on AMC.
I saw
and they did this really cool thing on AMC where like it was like they would take movies and they would play them back to back. The same movie back to back, and the first time was just a movie uninterrupted, and then the second time was like a factoid version,
like pop up video.
Yeah, like pop up video, but pop up movie, and that's where I found out about the Who fact, and like there's a lot of cool like trivia on this. That's cool. Then AMC had a really awesome documentary on this movie, and it was like. So I got to watch all this information the first time I watched this movie. It was like I watched it literally like twice in a row. And then watch this like documentary afterwards. It was just a really cool experience.
Nice.
Something I wish like AMC would still do, but it was this and Kramer. Yeah.
Alien originally lost out to box office from Kramer versus Kramer.
Oh,
have you guys actually ever seen that movie?
I've seen parts of it. Like I think probably on AMC with the pop-up trivia, but I've never.
Guilty. Guilty. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. It's always on streaming, and I need to watch it.
Is it Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Powerhouse casting right there.
Mm-hmm.
So while they're searching or while they're looking for these eggs, they don't know they're eggs at the time. But one of the characters, it is a good jump scare.
It's awesome
because how slowly like the egg opens up. And then it just jumps out, and I think you immediately see it crash through his visor, right?
Like the close up of the egg, and you see it like shaking, whatever, and then just launches up in his face.
It's really
like,
cool. Yeah. So this is where we really get into the plot of this movie because he's contaminated, and a couple of the characters try to get him onto the ship.
Yeah.
And since Sigourney Weaver is the acting captain, she says he's got to be quarantined. He can't come on the ship.
Yeah.
But then we have Ian Holm, which, spoiler alert, it is cool watching this. It's weird saying the second time.
Yeah.
Watching the second time, knowing that Ian Holm is an android.
It's cool seeing like the subtleties in the dialogue that he has. You're like, oh, there's like this dude is like definitely betraying them early on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, even he has that really cool like running in place thing when he wakes up.
Oh,
you know
yeah. He puts the suit on or whatever.
He does it like
the
almost like it's like a weird like
he's trying to get
kind of thing, like
get into human. The guy could do the human, whatever characteristics.
Like you watch it for the first time and you're just like, oh, that's just weird behavior. Like but it's like it's probably something to do with like his androidness to
cool.
to like stir his body up or something, or I don't know. It's just kind of cool. Like like what you're saying, though, watching it and kind of over analyzing it this time,
putting it together.
It's something that I made note of. It's like this movie, what's so cool is they don't establish anything in the universe. Like it is what it is. Like with the alien, we don't know anything about it. We don't need any explanation. It just is what it is. And even the point where you find out that Ash is a android, when Yaphet Koto like knocks his head off, he's like, "Oh my god, he's a damn android." You're like, I had no idea androids were in this universe, but this is super cool. Like this is a whole new element of this like story. It's really, really cool like that they do this stuff.
And I will say, even though I'm not a huge fan of this movie, because I've seen Aliens probably hundreds of times, but watching this and getting subtext to why she hates androids so much. Yeah. So when she works with Lance Henriksen, you get her like
severe,
I don't know what the word is. How she's kind of like hesitant to work with them.
Yeah.
It works so much. It works really well doing these back to back, I would think.
It's because it's cool because they do kind of like a parallel. It's like she realizes that as an android because he starts bleeding like the white or sweating like the white when he like
oh no. Oh, in the second one you mean?
No, in the first one, when he's like when he's confronting her in the room, whatever, then they're fighting and she sees like the white and you're like, okay, she knows something's up with him or whatever. But like in the second movie when they're having like the lunch after they awaken or
with
whatever,
the hand,
he sees she sees the white and she's like already like, holy shit, like get me away from this guy, like he's got some screws loose,
Well, a lot of people think that Ian Holm's character in this, like with the sweat, that he is a distant cousin of Gary Oldman from Fifth Element when he sweats.
White versus the black,
Black,
Zerg,
It's not my theory, but
did you write that down?
No, I didn't write that down.
I wanted to see that one on paper.
Kind of, how do we? So we got Danny Houston game. Now we have how do they relate to Gary Oldman from Fifth Element game?
Hangman's daughter.
So Ian Holm betrays her wishes pretty much. Lets the character on board who's got the alien latched onto his head.
Yeah.
And it's cool watching. It is hard when you get spoiled and you've seen the other one so many times. But watching like the discovery of this, of like, what is this? Like, okay, we'll just cut off one of its legs and then we'll slowly take it off his face.
Yeah.
And then it bleeds acid, and then you watch it like drip from the ship, and they're like, it's a really cool discovery. I really enjoy watching this.
We're discovering everything with the characters, which is like awesome. It's really
a lot of fun to watch.
But the effects here are like amazing because it's like, how the hell do they pull this off with like how they like just create like a face hugger that's on John Hurt's face, but then they also have like the tentacle like slowly tightening around his neck. It's all like
it looks really good,
like really cool practical effects.
It makes me think of me and Matt were just talking about this off podcast, but I watched the original Creature from the Black Lagoon the first time, and for 1955 56, like you see like him breathe, like his gills work, and like everything is so like not mechanical, not the word I'm going for, but like realistic. And it made me think of that because like when you said, when you see it, like when they go to do something to it and you see his neck get tighter with the, like, it looks really cool. Like I'm really buying this. It doesn't look like they just threw something on his face and
a
like
puppet or whatever, just like, oh, let it just sit there,
Exactly. Yeah.
Matt, what were you laughing at earlier? Just quick question.
Oh yeah, you got something, Matt? Was it a Gary Oldman joke?
What do you have to share with us?
I have nothing. I don't know what I was laughing at.
Okay.
I was thinking. Go ahead. I don't know what you're getting at. Hato, please explain.
No, because I was going through this whole like for the scene, and I like noticed you in the corner, and you're just looking down, laughing. So I just want to know what you're laughing. What's more important? This is like a
looking up
classroom, like a
information.
teacher, like,
I was
hey,
just thinking,
Mr. Matthew, what were you laughing
Yeah.
at? Could you
you
share
wanna
it with
share
the,
with the class?
yeah, share with the class?
No, I was going to bring this up. Let's talk about the acid for blood.
Super cool.
You know what? I watching it again this time too. I was like, I didn't realize that like there's only one scene with the acid for blood, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like they don't really talk about it as much, kind of
Yeah.
surprisingly. Which
They don't talk about like if they kill the alien, like what is going to happen if we kill it, like with a flamethrower. Is the acid going to burn, or is it going to like eat through the hole? Like, I feel like they never really put that into any context. They're just more concerned about like we got to eliminate this thing as soon as possible.
Yeah, because I'm gonna say that like if you took out the acid for, because they need to establish, I feel like, that there's guns on board and that they can't use those guns.
Yeah.
Because other than that, like the acid for blood, like you could take that scene out and this movie would still be the same. Like as far as
true.
like,
Yeah.
you know, like I feel like they got like, but and I'm saying that because they don't establish that they don't have any like
Firearms or
pointed weapons, firearms, like spikes. They don't have any of that stuff. So it's like the acid for blood is kind of like you could take that. Yeah, you could just remove that scene. It wouldn't change the movie up at all.
And it's a shame because it's such a cool like back character thing, because like his defense mechanism like is acid. Like that's really cool. And I know in later movies they use that a lot.
They should have had
actually they use it a lot. Yeah,
they do use it a lot, but like it only pops up I think like a couple of times in Aliens. It's like lands on a couple of different people, but like when they have the full-on shootout in that room, like the last stand with the remaining survivors and the aliens, they should have like blood spraying all over the place and eating away the entire room that they're in. I know it'd be like a little difficult because like you just can't, like, it's hard to create that effect, but like it's just something that they should kind of implement more in the movies.
I would say the coolest.
I'm gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, we're gonna say the same
Alien
thing.
Resurrection.
Yes, that's the coolest. That's the coolest way they use the acid.
Remember, there's 3 aliens and they're trapped, and then 2 aliens decide to kill the other one, so that his acid.
They're eating each other.
So then that way the acid from that one will open up a hole and they can escape. Like it's a really cool idea.
It's cool. It's a really cool idea. There's some cool ideas in Resurrection, and Resurrection has a lower score than Alien 3. It's probably got the lowest score out of all of them. But I think there's some really cool things in Resurrection.
There's really
cool stuff,
elements.
but just like the story alone, kind of like I
don't know. It tries to fix what 3 does bad. Like
I think 3 is solid because it's basically they bring it back down to 1 alien, and it's them trapped and trying to figure out how to like.
They ruin it, dude. I hate 3.
I like
3 ruins 3 ruins aliens.
Oh
in that the movie literally opens up with, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Alien 3, it literally opens up with like, oh yeah, everybody she was on the ship with died. From aliens.
I hate that because
hate,
Michael Biehn
I hate that they did that, but I like the concept. Like it would be cool if they had Michael Biehn and Newt back in, but they're also trying to run through the prison, you know. But like the fact that they got rid of those characters is super dumb. But like I like the idea of like trying to contain and push the alien. It's basically what they're trying to do in this movie, trying to like reroute the alien so they can blast it out into space or whatever. But now they're in like a prison building and they're trying to do the same thing, route it through the prison to get it to is it like a refinery or something? Terminator 2 a refinery?
No, it's a monastery. It's a monastery.
It's a monastery.
In 3?
The last part where they're trying to burn it with the that
liquid. I can't remember. I just know they're in a monk. They're like in a monastery. A monk. The kind of like the mission statement of the Aliens movies is just basically like money hungry. They just make them. They don't make them with like because they have a really good story. They just make them because they're like, hey, we have a hot property. We got to keep making these. Because why haven't the aliens like
made more?
Well, there was the idea that the alien. We'll say this too. The alien universe takes place in the Blade Runner universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those two are connected. And there was at one point a sequel idea for an alien movie where the aliens were going to come to Earth, and that was going to be the third one,
Bring
and the
Decker
world was going to
from,
look like no, he wasn't going to be in it, but the world was going to look like the Blade Runner world.
That'd be cool.
Like that's the future.
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
And it's like instead they made this idea. They keep putting them in space, and it's like, ugh.
It's the idea. It's the idea with Evil Dead. Let's go back to the cabin because that worked.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
good
it's
call.
odd. You saying, talking about like them being money hungry and then they're the villains. It's weird when you put it that way because then the main villain of Aliens is
the
Paul
corporation.
Reiser.
Yeah.
I
Oh
would say
yeah.
Paul Reiser's like
He's a
your,
company man for
Oh,
he's the
I was-
antagonist.
I was just talking about like I was just talking about like the production of the movies.
Yeah.
Is like they're money hungry because they keep making
yeah.
sequels without
Yeah.
making. Them in
I
any
thought
kind
you were
of
talking about
they
the
don't make.
actual movies.
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
make them in any direction.
But in the actual movie itself, it is kind of the Wayland Yutani Corporation is kind of the main villain in an aspect. Like the alien is just the obstacle, or the reason why it's happening, kind of.
So to take Chris's comment even further, that whoever the Paul Reiser is of who's in charge of making the Alien movies,
You do actually kind of if you put on that
I was
vest
just
that he
gonna
has,
say
you
it.
actually do kind of look like Paul Reiser.
I did my hair this way so you would say that.
oh,
So
it's finally out. It's finally out.
Company man over here.
Matt, you were going on something about the money thing? About the villains?
No, I'm done. I'm
Women
done.
like
I'm
it.
done with my money
You
rant.
know it.
Okay.
My cha-ching
So-
rant. Cha-ching.
So the movie opens up and it says Alien. And
We're at the beginning of the movie.
Well,
are
let's
you
get to all right.
serious?
Why don't we talk about the
I'm gonna talk about how the hugger
the
comes
dinner
off.
scene.
Yeah, the last.
The face hugger comes off,
Yeah.
and this character wakes up out of nowhere. It's
Just
really cool the
Kane.
way they do this because the guy, is it William Hurt?
John
that his
Hurt.
name?
John
Hurt.
Is he part of the Houston family? So John Hurt wakes up and like, you need to come see this, and you feel very genuine for him because he looks kind of tired and
Yeah, he's just doing like a morning stretch. Like, oh, what a night I had, Oh,
it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel bad for this guy knowing what's going to happen to him here in a
my
minute.
god.
But for as much as I like this movie, but this scene, I've probably seen this scene so many times without watching the movie. And this scene's just phenomenal because they're all sitting around having dinner and they're all laughing, they're having a good time. And then John Hurt starts to get this pain in his chest.
Like starts choking,
Yeah, I think he's choking. And they put him on top of the dinner table. And then we have the whole like chest burster scene, bursts through his chest, puts on the top hat. And
yeah, Yaphet Keto's like, water my ass, get this guy some Pepto-Bismol.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Hello, my raccoon gal.
But the alien takes off into the ship.
Yeah.
And I know we probably all know this trivia, but the coolest thing about the scene is that no one knew it was going to happen. And it shows, man. Everybody's reaction is so genuine.
In fact, you can see it on Yaphet Koto's face. And he's just kind of like, he doesn't know how to act. He's like, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't know like his reaction would be. And it's just kind of like staring. And he just kind of, I think
that's what makes the scene so awesome is like once it like finally hits, it doesn't actually burst out yet, but you see the blood on the chest, like the shirt. Everyone just like pauses.
Yeah.
And then just gets quiet. And then he does more of like the moving around, then it bursts out, and then everyone's like, holy shit. And then
and then John Hurt's like, not again.
Yeah. Oh no, not again.
Check, please.
Yeah, I love that scene.
The only I will say this. I'm gonna knock on it for a second because, like I said, this is like a perfect movie for me. The only time it looks bad is when the alien runs across the table.
Yeah, it just slides.
Yeah, it's the only time it looks bad in the movie. It's the only effect in the movie that looks bad.
Yeah,
is that running across the table.
If they would have panned or like tilted the camera down slightly, you would have seen like the track it was like riding on.
Right?
Yeah, one of those race cars.
Yeah. It has like a loop.
There's a loop.
The guy off on the side, he just kind of like
he's so engaged.
Yeah,
it's working.
So the alien is now loose in the area.
It's like goose is loose.
Goose is loose.
The goose is loose.
At this point, it's pretty much like, I'm not saying it's on this level, so I want you to think. I mean, it is kind of like a Friday the 13th at this point, where it's like a character will go off, dies. Character go off, dies.
Yeah, And part of it's because they think it's just a small alien because they saw it leave the dinner table.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that like it will grow into a human size, if not larger, thing.
Yeah. And if they just if they would have just followed that Hot Wheel track down the hallway.
If they would have followed the guy controlling the RC, like using the remote control.
It's gotta come back around.
Yeah, it's gotta come back to loop.
We'll just wait here.
Yeah, just hear it. I hear it coming.
It's so fast.
It's so fast.
So I guess we could pretty much, because like the next like 40 minutes ish is just going through the deaths.
Yeah.
So let's just go death by death. I think
Harry Dean Stanton is the next guy who goes off to look for the cat. I think.
Yeah, and where is he at? Because it's like raining.
He is in I think it's the escape pod. He's underneath the escape pod. Okay. Because it has the three like booster like thrusters or whatever above him. And the alien conveniently, like, I think is like comfortable in there because it keeps going back into the thruster in this scene, and at the end when it crawls back in there at the end.
Maybe.
But I don't know what the rain is or what the water is.
I think it's just moisture.
But he's definitely drinking it. And I don't feel like that was good to drink.
Oh, that's space water. Oh, that's the good stuff. That's space water.
It's water and some of the fuel, so it's like some space vodka he's got going on.
Oh yeah,
this is the good stuff. This is where I come to. This is where I go on my breaks.
So he has this like he's trying to find the cat because the cat keeps setting off the tracker gun that they have.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so he gets killed. You don't see it. There's like 3 shots that look exactly the same of the alien's mouth going through the back of someone's head.
Yeah.
They probably could use the same shot over and over and I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. I like the scene because it's like he gets pulled up and then it's right when Yaphet, Koto, and the rest of the crew, I think, comes to see where he went. And the water has now changed to blood. So it's kind of just raining blood because I think he like gets it. Yaphet, Koto starts getting the blood. He's like,
"This is a director's cut.
That's the director's cut.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
the director's cut. See that
because in the theatrical cut, this is weird. In the theatrical cut, it goes straight from Harry Dean Stanton dying to Yaphet Koto talking to the crew, and he's like, "The thing was huge."
Yeah, he talks about it was huge. Yeah,
yeah, which is weird that scene. I've never. Go ahead. Chris.
I rewound it. So I was watching with my girlfriend, and I rewound it.
Where did he see it?
And I was like, did the DVD skip? And she's like, I don't think so. I was like, they're talking about how big it is and about how they found the body, blah, 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 and or something like that. And I rewound. I was like, no. I was like, I think it's just really bad movie making.
Yeah. And the director's cut now. In the director's cut, does he find Harry Dean Stanton's body?
No, it just like
the alien takes it, right?
Alien like lifts him up, and then like Parker comes into the room as he sees it like lifting up and going into the ceiling. And then that's it. Like he just sees like it for like a brief second. He sees the alien, like Brett, and then he's like underneath. He's like Brett, and then it's like raining the blood on him.
Why'd you not keep that in? Okay,
that's why I like. That's why I prefer like the director because they do stuff like that. And then there's a scene later on the movie that's like, oh, that would have been awesome to see in the theater.
With Dallas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you see Dallas and Brett in the end, which is awesome.
Yeah, because now Brett's dead though, right?
Yeah, but
Dallas is
Brett is Harry Dean Stanton, and Dallas is Tom Skerritt, the captain of the ship.
And Tom Skerritt's being used for because this is what I want to get at with you guys. Talking
this is what I want to talk about. This is what I learned in the movie.
Because Tom Skerritt's being used for he's got the embryos in him, like so he's basically. Well, I mean, they establish it later on in the Alien movies that like when they're up on the wall, that's where they're like. They're there for harvesting.
Yeah, so I think the idea is like the queen alien, which you see in Aliens, is able to produce the eggs. You know, that does like that's probably what happened in the LV426. There's probably a queen at some point that laid the eggs or whatever, or it may be just whatever. But the idea is like you either have that option to create the eggs, or this is why the alien xenomorph like captures human like people that are still alive. Is because it slowly converts them into an egg to create a face hugger.
Yeah,
that's what I was reading.
Well, see, because I always thought it was like it keeps them, it harvests humans like it does in Aliens.
Yeah.
So the face huggers can easily get to them.
So yeah, that's like the other option. But if they don't have anything that can create an egg, they have to transform the human into a physical egg that would create the face hugger.
Okay.
So that's what I think that's what it's trying to do, is create like basically another face hugger.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
interesting. Okay.
yeah,
okay.
there's like some really cool, like just subtle, like
so that's why it's collecting everybody. It's collecting people instead of just killing them.
Yeah. That's why it's killing some, capturing some, it's like eliminating the threats, I guess, in a way.
That's cool to know. I wish I would have kept that in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why so in the deleted scene, not to jump a little bit forward, but like eventually Ripley finds Dallas like in the hull of the ship, and it's like all what, like, from Aliens, it's got like the weird nest looking thing, like the weird texture to the walls and stuff, but Dallas is on the wall, like basically kind of entombed, like that woman you see in Aliens where she's like, kill me. Dallas like sees Ripley and he's like, kill me, and then she burns him with a flamethrower. Him and Brett are both like on the wall, basically.
Wow. Okay.
What happens?
But Brett's dead. Yeah,
Brett's dead. But it looked like that he was like kind of moving around in the director's cut. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. But they're both like on the wall, like, and I think what's happening is that they're being slowly transformed into like an egg, basically. Is that they're being like kind of engulfed or like consumed slowly.
Yeah.
That's why they're like in pain. But yeah, it's like that scene is really cool to see. But yeah, it's just like it's weird because I think like I saw because I watched the theatrical version, I think it just sort of like goes from one scene, cuts to the rest of the movie. But in this director's cut, like does that, and then she encounters the two of them in the hull, and then it goes back into the rest of the movie where she's being chased on the ship. So
this is. I'm glad we watched different versions of this to discuss it.
Yeah.
So after his death, I think it goes to the lady's death, right?
It's Brett.
Oh no,
it's Brett, and then there's the whole like where they're like it's using the ventilation shafts to like move around, so they have to go into the shafts. They send Dallas, which kind of makes no sense, I guess.
Well, honestly, we got to talk about the way this movie kind of premiered, and Tom Skerritt's name's at the top of the cast.
Yeah.
Tom Skerritt was meant to be like to the audience like the main character.
Yeah.
So with him going into the vents, it's like them killing off the main character. Sigourney Weaver's kind of, and Sigourney Weaver's in the background a lot in this movie up until Tom Skerritt.
I was gonna say until everyone's dead, then it's like obviously the camera shifts entirely.
She gets kind of equal time as far as like Yaphet Koto and Harry Dean Stanton get, and Ian Holm. And then like once Tom Skerritt dies, he's out. Like Sigourney Weaver's in, but also like watching it from a point of view of not having seen the alien, because you don't see the alien until it, like you get that close-up shot of it attacking Harry Dean Stanton, and then you don't get to really see it. Kind of like you get to see more and more of it as the movie progresses. And then when it attacks Dallas in the ventilation, like it's terrifying because you see like the arms and the head, and it's like you really see it.
It's creepy, but it's also kind of goofy because it's like, give me a hug. It looks like a human scaring something, you know what I mean? Like it's still an awesome scene. And when Matt explained that to me too about like, hey, he was supposed to be viewed as the main character, I was like, okay, that's a really cool way of looking at it, because she's going to survive and she's the main character. So I was trying to watch this as like a one take, and after Matt described that puts it up 1% in my book.
So this movie would have been like, man, this is one of those movies that like I would have just loved to have seen in 1979 for the first time ever.
Yeah,
like just being in a theater.
People smoking cigarettes in the theater. People probably running around. You probably got like in Scream 2, you probably got people dressed in the alien suit running around the theater.
That's what they think the alien noises are.
Just like Harry Dean Stanton.
But like we went, this kind of reminded me of, Chris, was when we went and saw The Ring American remake for the first time, and then saw The Sixth Sense for the first time in a packed theater, and it was a horror film, and like watching everybody get scared at the exact same time or get uncomfortable at the exact same time.
Ring was The Ring was like, I remember The Ring. It was a packed theater. I saw that like, you know, as like a typical opening night or whatever. I remember that was super fun. Everyone was like jumping at all this shit. Yeah, it would have been awesome to see.
Yeah,
like this.
Like something like a horror film like this, and just watching, like just feeling the whole audience
experiencing it for the first time, the tension and all that stuff.
Yeah,
super cool.
Something I just haven't had in the past like 15 years. I would say, like, I haven't had this experience in like 15 years.
I can't remember like the last like true horror movie where it was just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, experiencing something brand new, you know.
Yeah, just
honestly, the last time I remember like a movie experience where I got really scared or creeped out might have been Conjuring. It's been a few years since I've
Conjuring.
seen it.
Yeah.
Insidious. Yeah, Insidious was that way too. Yeah.
Anything by James Wan. Yeah.
I think all of us saw Conjuring in theaters, and I remember a friend of ours was sitting next to me and he kept grabbing me every time there was a joke. Every time we reacted, he's just like laughing, just like
I wish there's some good scenes in that movie.
I wish I would have saw the Invisible Man remake.
Dude. I think that was the last.
Had that,
obviously, that was the last movie I saw in theaters, but that had a jump scare where I audibly yelled, "Holy shit!"
Yes, I wish I would have saw that in a packed theater on a Friday night. I ended up seeing it on like a Monday morning with like 2 people, in the entire theater.
The elderly crowd.
Yeah, the senior citizen discount.
At the point in the movie, we have 3 characters left. We have Sigourney Weaver, who's now captain.
We have 4.
We have 4.
Dallas gets taken, and then now we have Sigourney kind of taking control. We got Ash, the We'll find out here in a second. Then we got Lambert and Parker are the last 4.
Yeah. So Ian Holm, who's the android, ends up trying to kill Ripley. This is kind of goofy.
Because what happens here is that Ripley's like, "Hey, do you have any more suggestions on what we should do? Because you're the science officer." And he's like, "What did Mother say?" And he's like, still trying to figure that out. And he's like, "You've been saying that for the last whatever. You haven't been helping whatsoever." So she's like, "I'll go find out from Mother myself." She goes to the computer, asks for the prime directives or whatever. And it's priority 1 is to capture the alien life form alive. Priority 2 is I think it's like survivors. They're all expendable, basically. Just focus on getting the alien. So I think this is where Ash pops in behind Ripley and was like, "You weren't supposed to see that," you know. And then the weird stuff that follows from here is there's some weird stuff that happens in this fight scene here, but I love it. It's great.
Yeah. Ian Holm tries to kill Sigourney Weaver with a magazine.
Yeah.
Which this is kind of goofy. I wish it was cooler.
It was like putting the magazine and covering the top or something. Like,
no, he's trying to shove it down her throat.
Oh yeah, just straight up just shove it. Okay.
Yeah.
You thought you were trying to cut off their air supply?
Yeah, that's what I always like. I was like, that's so weird. Why is she trying to cut off the air supply?
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, just cover her mouth if that's the case.
Today you die.
Time magazine, Person of the Year.
We landed on the moon.
Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly's 20 hottest celebrities. You're like,
find out the box office budget for Alien franchise.
Good housekeeping.
Good housekeeping.
Nickelodeon magazine, please.
Highlights.
Disney Adventure.
But Disney Adventure, the magazine's like this big because it was like a smaller.
But there's like, you were saying the highlights. There's like 10 highlights because they're so thin. They're like
10 of my favorite highlights magazines.
He is not successful in killing her, and then there's this whole brawl that happens, and Yaphet Koto ends up fighting him and punching his head off.
It's he's like a fire extinguisher. He hits him on the back. He starts to malfunction, and he like knocks his head off, and he's like, "It's a robot."
That's when he finds out it's a robot, and they put him on the table. And this is done well. This is cool. But like,
this is super
they have his head, and you can tell like it's a dummy head.
I love it.
And then they're trying to turn it back on, and when they put it on the table, it switches the Holm's actual head.
Yeah,
and it looks good. I mean, I think you can tell the difference.
Yeah, and it's done as good as it can look.
Yeah,
like, it's hard to match up a head.
Like, it is really tough. Like the the color and the actual, a prop
Yeah.
head versus a real.
Well, they
human
even
head.
we've watched special effects documentaries where they do full moldings of people's heads. Even when they do that, it's like slightly off. Like,
see any movie that has a Arnold Schwarzenegger prosthetic head.
Yeah. Oh
Okay.
man.
Yeah.
Okay, Total Recall.
Total Recall head, dude, is what?
We
But
just
yeah,
watched that the other day, and yeah, it's very
so
like
good when he
yeah,
takes the woman's head off, and
Yeah,
his eyes are like,
his eyes are like down here, and he's like, it's really weird.
yeah. So they pretty much talk with Ian Holmes. I don't know what the conversation is per se.
I think it's again asking what the
favorite Danny Houston movie is.
Yeah, how does this relate to the Hangman's Daughter?
Okay.
That's the question. That's the real question.
What? They're like, never mind, it's stupid. But yeah, it's just like he basically repeats that everyone is expendable. Priority one is
yes, that's right.
They're like,
yeah,
let's go kill this thing. Let's go carve ourselves a witch.
So then that's when the 3 characters left. They go off, and I feel like they die very quickly.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like it's very like I don't even know what the scene setup was, but it was like Yaphet, Koto, and the girl are in a room together.
I think I can't remember. They're trying to resupply the flamethrower, but they're trying to look for.
No, they're getting coolant for the. I'm assuming this is what they're doing, but they're getting Cool Whip. we need some Cool Whip for our ice cream sundaes.
Get out here, you little jerk.
No, they're trying to get coolant for the shuttle they're going to take off in, and I'm assuming it's for the hypersleep.
Oh,
like they probably don't have enough. They probably don't have enough coolant for like all of them, so they have to get them because Sigourney Weaver doesn't take it with her. So I'm assuming like the ship has enough for 1 or 2 people, enough coolant for 1 or 2 people to sleep in hypersleep, but they need some for the third person, so they're going to go get some.
Okay.
Or just extra coolant. I don't know. They don't like. I'm assuming that's what they're establishing.
Yeah.
And they died pretty quick.
But they're going through all the tanks because I think most of them are empty because they just keep throwing them across, and then the alien confronts both Lambert and Parker. And I was always sad by this because Yaphet Koto is awesome, and
he is. Yeah,
he dies horribly in this movie.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the lady reminds me of the lady from Night of the Living Dead. Just how she kind of goes to like a state of panic, pretty much.
Oh yeah, she's definitely going through some psychological stress throughout this entire.
For sure.
Linnea Quigley. Did you say
that's
the Living Dead.
I think Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living
movie,
Dead. Okay.
Right here.
Yeah. That one.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
That one. But yeah, they die off pretty quickly, and then not to like rush the ending of this movie, but it is pretty much like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
Sigourney's trying to escape. She sets the ship to explode in 10 minutes or self-destruct.
Yeah.
And then
she's yelling at Mother a lot. Mother, you bitch.
And can we talk though? We need to go back for a second. This is the death I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
What the way Lambert gets killed.
Oh,
did you notice this?
Who's Lambert?
Vaguely. Lambert's the girl.
Okay.
So what we get is, I'll paint the picture. We get a shot of he kills Yaphet Koto, and the alien comes closer and closer to Lambert, and the alien's tail goes up between the back of Lambert's legs.
Yeah.
And the next time we see, she screams horribly. Yeah. And the next time we see her is a shot where Yaphet Koto's dead in the background, and then in the foreground, it's her legs, and they don't have pants on.
Oh.
And she's hanging.
So
she's like, in some kind of way violated by the alien is what is hinted at.
Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. So why do you think this? Why do you guys think this happens? Like, why does the alien kill her in this sort of fashion?
It could be just an impregnating thing.
But like, and it just may be like stuff that they're experimenting with the idea of alien character, of like what it does exactly, and they obviously establish it more in the sequels of like egg, face hugger, chest burster, alien. That's like the kind of the process of the evolution of the alien. So it's probably just something they did in this movie, and they probably are like, yeah, let's not do that for future
Right.
movies. So
Yeah, because I was thinking it might be like something related to like because it's the first female kill in the movie.
yeah,
There's a theme that I want to talk about that's running throughout this movie is motherhood. The ship is called Mother. The entire plot of the movie is planning, like, the alien is in a way a mother. It's like planting eggs inside of a body so it can reproduce.
It's a whole keymaster gatekeeper type situation in this movie.
And we've got like this is one of the biggest final girl movies ever. So like the two last people to die in this movie, or the two people left, are women. And the one woman gets it the worst way than anybody who gets killed in this movie. And that's more of like interpretive. But it's almost like it like brutalizes her because it's another female on board. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's like a weird I don't know how to like put it into words, but it's like a way she's
this is the fate that she is going to have if the alien catches up to her, basically.
Yes, like the same thing is going to happen to Sigourney Weaver, and it's like mother versus mother, and I'm going to kill the mother and not use her for like to make eggs or anything like that. I'm going to like destroy her, so she can't reproduce. Like
that's
it's
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's what
that makes sense.
Because
I'm thinking that's what's happening with Lambert is
they do kind of like, I actually am looking at the Alien wiki right now, and they actually do mention that it's like a rape-like scenario, and
but like destroying her so that she can't be any kind of like I don't know. It's like it's just like a not an, I keep thinking the word envy, but like she's going after her because like she's a female, she can reproduce, she can spawn eggs. It's like really kind of like
like you said, there's a whole lot of themes of like reproduction and like birth and all that stuff, because even Ash at one point mentions that Kane gave birth. It's Kane's son, quote unquote, because he gave birth to the chestburster alien. Like he gets impregnated with the face hugger and then proceeds to give birth, because I don't and I don't know if this is a theatrical versus director's cut, because I don't remember this line at all, but Ash at one point is like, I think it's after Kane dies, which is John Hurt. Ash subtly says like Kane's son, like refers to it as his son,
I don't remember hearing that.
It might have been director's cut, because it's like, oh, I never remember that line, like idea
but
of,
also
like,
but like also like it could be like the alien looking at it kills all the men off first because it thinks it's like the biggest threat, but it actually turns out the women are the biggest threat,
and it's quick and brutal. There's just a quick like jaw through the head or whatever, but exception of director's cut, where they showed Dallas being slowly like consumed by whatever's going on in that process.
Yes, sure. If you don't know that scene exists with Dallas, then you would assume that like all of the men are dying. They're not being used for eggs or anything like that. They're dying. Like, because they're all like, all the kills are kind of off screen except for Yaphet Koto.
You see him wrestling a little bit. But
so I just wanted to talk about that with you guys, as far as like what your theories were. And
I mean, I feel like after you brought it up, it's a little bit more obvious now. But I never really noticed that. Like the legs, like it's weird. It's crazy.
Twisted. It's pretty twisted.
Yeah.
So Chris, go ahead and lead us into the end.
So basically, she sets the ship to destroy itself in 10 minutes. And she gets away on like the escape pod type thing. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's what Brett was underneath earlier in the movie. It's like the escape pod that has like, I don't know, the whole idea of the escape pod. Now that you brought it up with them looking for coolant, like that makes no sense now, because like they only had room for like 2 people apparently, or 3 people. Like they didn't have the coolant already in there in case like something like an alien chasing after people on the ship. They didn't have that thing ready to go, like it makes
they couldn't do it earlier. They bring up that they can't escape on the escape pod because there's not enough spots on the escape pod, so they had to kind of wait for a couple people to die so they can be like, oh, we can take it now.
Okay, see ya.
But not to like wrap it up, but like she ends up taking off on the ship. thinking she left the alien behind.
Yeah.
When this ship explodes, it looks kind of dated.
It's no Star Wars New Hope re-released in theaters, like big sonic boom. It's just like a quick like, line flash.
Well, it's the colors that make it look dated. It's very 70s.
Yeah.
But she gets away and she thinks everything's all right. And this might be my favorite shot of the movie is you don't realize that the alien is like inside the ship, like I don't know, it's like in the wall.
There's basically like a series of pipes that are underneath or above like the controls to get everything ready for hypersleep or whatever, or the sleep stasis. And the alien, you actually see it like now, but yeah, the alien's head is like totally there, just chilling. Like
it's awesome.
Yeah, this is a good scare.
Yeah. And she tricks the alien. How does she get the alien to come out? I know she like kind of
she presses like the pressure of the pipes or something. I think she like lets the steam, it like burns the alien because it like screams or whatever, and then it starts moving out of there. So they have like their final showdown. Ripley, Sigourney Weaver throws on a let's say spacesuit, but that's not the correct terms. It is totally it's totally a spacesuit.
Okay. Yeah. She throws on a spacesuit.
It's a suit, and she can go out into space. Therefore, it's a spacesuit.
Thank you. And she ends up hitting like the door open, so the alien would get sucked out. But it's attached to something. What is it still attached to?
She's got like a grappling hook. She shoots him.
That's right.
With the grappling hook, and it like basically goes and impales him or it, and then it flies out with a combination of being hit by the harpoon or like the grappling hook, and then the space basically.
Yeah. And it tries to get back in through the
it's like the thrusters, like the jet propulsion system or whatever.
Yeah. Which is not a good idea because
Alien doesn't know this, doesn't know anything about spaceships.
Yeah, Alien's
instant death.
Yeah, Alien's stupid.
Yeah, and it's like it's sitting there, it's like crawling back in. It's like, you got this, you can do this. Don't worry, like just hang out here quietly.
You didn't shut this door. And then it crawls in.
Alien is dumb.
Yeah.
And then the alien dies, and Sigourney Weaver goes to sleep, and that is Alien 1979. Let's go ahead and go around and talk about what we rated. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it had a 98%. I'll just start off. I'll give it a 78. I think it's a really good movie.
Give it a 79 since it came out that year,
79, right? LV426, 79.
I think it's really good. It's just a little slow for me, and I think I got really spoiled with Aliens. Aliens is such an in-your-face movie.
It's very possible.
And this is completely different. So comparing the movies is really hard because they're two completely different movies. For what it is, man, what a groundbreaking movie.
Yeah.
It does a lot of great stuff. It looks great. It's just one of those ones I just don't happen to love. Nothing against it. It's just a little slow, and I just don't love it for some reason. So what about you, Hanto?
This is like 95, 98% for me. This movie's amazing. I've seen it several times, and it ain't stopping with this show. I'm going to see a lot more for the years to come. I think this is some groundbreaking stuff. And like what spawned from this movie, it created a pretty cool universe, I feel like. Eventually it links it up to the Predator universe in a way. They've done like plenty of spin-offs with like the comic books. They've done a few movies and whatnot with Alien vs. Predator. But yeah, the same concept, but where this is a great entry for the Alien franchise, as like the Predator is like kind of the same. It's on par, I feel like, in a kind of similar way, where it's like a slasher movie, but like with with characters and stuff. So
yeah. Matt?
I think this is a perfect movie. Like I said, this would be in my top 100. I do appreciate it more than Aliens. I like Aliens a lot, but I'm like you, Chris. Aliens. I saw Aliens before I saw this, so I was a little spoiled by Aliens. But I think I think every time I watch this, I gotta like really try to put myself in a perspective of like, okay, what did this movie do? What did it establish? It is probably the biggest entry in the sci-fi horror subgenre. And yeah, I think it's a perfect movie. I think it's a great, I said it earlier in the episode, but I think it's a great merging of all departments of filmmaking. And because of that, it's just like a perfect movie. So yeah, I put it at like a 98, 99%. Like it's high up there for me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
One thing that I said to Matt, he made sure I brought this up, was that I think the characters are richer in Aliens compared to Alien. That's one of the things.
There's more dialogue happening and more characters to choose from. In that.
Yeah, I enjoy the characters more in that.
I'll give you that. And honestly, after watching this, you said it to me before I watched this again, and I do. I like the characters more in the second movie. I even like Sigourney Weaver a lot more in the second movie than I like her in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that though, Chris.
Yeah, that's the only downfall. And like I said, I don't want to compare it to the second one because I want to watch it as a standalone. It's just hard when Aliens to me was the introduction of Alien, you know.
It's the same concept where you got Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is definitely like the more fun action movie, but it's the same concept where it's like the first entry is basically like a horror movie, and then the second movie has a little bit more fun with the sprucing it up a little bit, you know.
Well, would you say though that the difference between the characters in Alien and Aliens is that there's more of a camaraderie going on in Aliens?
Oh yeah, they got a whole Marine Corps.
Yeah, they got Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Because can I complain about Alien for a second? And like my complaint would be
is this why it's not 100%?
98%. Yeah. The sound in this movie is really bad. There's times when like they're talking in dialogue scenes, and you can tell they're improv dialogue scenes where like Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Koto are talking, and I'm like, I can't even understand what the hell they're saying. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And
there's a scene in particular where Sigourney Weaver or Yaphet Koto and Brett or Harry Dean Stanton are in the hallway or whatever. There's that steam, and they're talking to Sigourney Weaver, and she's like, "Why don't you go F yourselves?" And like, what do you say? I'll be on the deck if you need me.
Yeah.
Like, what is that supposed to be about?
It's right, dude. That was my complaint, because then like Yaphet Koto's like shit, and Harry Dean Stanton's like, "What are you upset about?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, like, she turns the steam back on. I rewound that 2 times. It's like, what are they talking about in this scene?
I know there were scenes like that. So I think the camaraderie is better in Aliens, is what Chris is saying, and it's because there's like scenes with Vasquez and like Hicks. I'm trying to remember all the characters. Hicks
and I can't remember all the other people.
What's Bill Paxton's name?
I can't remember. I thought it was Hicks, but it's not.
We got Sharp Sticks
and
but yeah, I agree with Chris on that. There's better camaraderie going on, better characters, I feel like, in Aliens.
But regardless, Alien is a very solid movie, and I do look forward to talking about Aliens, because I'm sure we're going to talk about this movie again on top of it, which we will do here sooner than later. But we have one movie left for our halfway to Halloween, and it's a listener request, and it is, spoiler alert, an awesome movie. It is Nicolas Cage and Vampire's Kiss. I just watched this with Matt like 2 months ago, and I'm already excited to watch it again.
I haven't seen it. I know of a lot of the iconic or hilarious scenes just from YouTube, but like I haven't seen this movie in its entirety in like 25 years.
Well, can we talk about like why we're excited to watch this movie? Is that
because it's awesome.
It's the last episode of this month.
We've been doing all the virtual stuff since the pandemic hit. And me and Chris are on vaccine shot 1. Honto's on 2, and he's done. And me and Chris are going to get our second one here. And finally, all 3 of us are going to get to hang out and watch this movie together. And I feel like I'm so excited for it, because it's going to be the first time in a year that we've all sat in the same room and watched a movie together, and it gets to be Vampire's Kiss, and it's great.
Yes, I'm very excited about this. I think it's going to be tremendous. So Vampire's Kiss, Nicolas Cage, that'll end up this month for halfway to Halloween. And then, do we decide what we're doing for May yet, or is that still a TBD?
I think it's still TBD, because there's a few that's going in. In a perfect world. Go ahead, Honto.
I was gonna say we should have it figured out by the next episode.
Yeah, we will.
Once we do the next episode, we'll announce it and we'll post about it on Facebook and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was telling Chris, in a perfect world, we would have ended this month off with Alien and then done superior sequels next month and started off with Aliens. So it could be a back-to-back.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have any requests or comments, whatever, you can hit us up on Facebook or you can email us at
cinemacult@gmail.com.
And as always, we hope you enjoyed listening to us because we enjoy doing it. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we'll see you next time.